Hello, this is Talon from the Comic Panel, and you're listening to an episode recorded on May 4th. Enjoy!
Alright, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Talon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawanta.
And today we are going to be talking about Aero, Volume 1 and 2, not to be confused with Green Arrow, but this is a Marvel book, and it's spelled A-E-R-O, not A-R-R-O-W.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Aero so it's translated to English by Greg Pak. And let's see here, who is it by though?
I have writer as Zhou Leifen.
Yeah.
And artist and cover by Kang.
I think it's Kang.
Kang.
Yeah.
And then publisher is NetEase with Marvel Worldwide Inc.
Yeah.
Which, both of those companies I had no idea was a thing.
I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty normal for a lot of American companies to have, like, as part of, like, you know, a shell company, having, like, worldwide branches, or, you know, maybe branches in different countries, if not a sector for just outside of the United States.
It was really weird to me because the Greg Pak was designated as like under adaptation, and so that does not mean to me translator.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that did kind of confuse me too when I first saw it. I was like, so what did he do then?
Right.
You know,
because to me it sounded like he adapted this from another media.
Right. Like maybe there was an Aero manga or something, or yeah.
I was gonna say, when I was like trying to figure out whether I was gonna be able to read Volume 1 and Volume 2, like I was trying to figure out which issues went for which. And when I looked it up, I got bombarded with Captain Aero comics, which are from the Golden Age I guess. He's just a flying ace in the U.S. Army, this dude.
Huh.
Interesting.
It's like,
Yeah.
who is this? So I like thought there was some sort of connection, but there doesn't seem to be.
Just a coincidence. Still an interesting one, though.
Is Captain Aero a Marvel character or someone else?
I'm not sure. I mean, just like it's. I don't know the company like Hellnet Publishing and Holoki Publishing in 1942.
Interesting.
He
Thanks,
does
mate.
fight Chinese villains, I should say.
Oh.
Okay.
It seems like. So that's a
Yeah.
really interesting part. Don't worry though, his sidekick is Chinese.
Oh, one of those. Oh.
You mean Green Hornet?
Well, that's one of those. That is. There's also the Black Hawks.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, we're not going to get into those. Different
Yeah, he
episode.
fights the Tibetan Black Llama is one of his villains, and then the Black Baron, who's German. So
Okay, I can see that one. Yeah.
So wait, it was published in World War II by the Japanese, but features the...
I didn't say Japanese.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's just an American one.
Oh, I guess that makes more sense then.
Yeah.
That's still kind of wild, though.
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to Aero. And this was...
Yeah, they seem to have no connection. That's all I wanted to say, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. This was published, I believe, not last year, 2 years ago, 2019 first, and then I think, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, it, to kind of give people a basis for what this character is, Arrow's real name is, Lei Ling, right?
Lei Ling.
Lei Ling, I would say.
Lei Ling.
Mm-hmm.
And she lives in Shanghai, China.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a premier architect. She has her own firm, and she, since childhood, has been able to control air currents.
Well, yeah,
Is
childhood, but not from birth.
Well,
Yeah.
not from birth.
She has a specific line where she says, like, as a little girl, I always wished to fly, and then she's like, and then I found this power eventually,
Yeah.
so I don't think it was very immediate.
Yeah. So yeah, like not from. We could say that from childhood, but not necessarily from birth.
Okay. I didn't realize I said birth. I thought
No, you said childhood.
Okay, yeah. I just thought...
I think, like, the fact that there was enough time for her to dream about, like, having powers like that before she actually had those powers is significant for her development.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and her company is Sacred Tree Design Studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I'm just gonna say that, like, one of the things that bothered me the most about this comic was how much it just jumped around time-wise.
Yeah. I now will go further to say, like, they introduce the present and then they take an exorbitantly long amount of time to talk about what led up to it.
Yeah.
We've never gotten back to the present
Yeah,
in all that
no.
we read.
No.
Which I was like, I constantly was like, oh, are we back to the present now? She's like, no.
They introduce, like, a new side villain, and then they're like, okay, now it's time to talk about how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
And then just stayed there.
I mean, I mean, obviously they're probably trying to do the whole thing of, like, throwing you into the action. This is what you're going to come up to.
Yeah.
But then they're just like, okay, now let's go back to the, backstory to how we got to this point. But none of it is suspenseful because we know where we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we understand totally. Like, I'm sorry, the main character, Lei Ling, I think she's kind of cocky and dumb.
Yeah.
'Cause, like...
I wouldn't go dumb, but yeah.
Okay,
Cocky.
but there's so many points where, like, she could just put two and two together, where I'm like, So it's interesting because the villain, Madame Huang, I think, she's introduced right away as the villain, but of course with the voiceover being like, and my old mentor. And then we find out they just like met a few months ago. Like I thought she'd like trained her for most of her life or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's just some person she met a few months ago to do with like this new menace to the city, these white jade towers. And so like their first big conversation, she's like, anyway, these white jade towers are weapons used against ancient monsters. And Lei Ling's like, yeah, anyway, fairy tales aside, it's like, you control the air. What is your problem? And then, like, Madame Huang is like, this is reality. This is our ancient history. Anyway, do you want my help destroying them? It'd be really cool if we destroyed them, right? Like, what's the use of them?
It's like, yeah, it seems like you're really into destroying these for no reason.
There's no significant, like, critical thinking from Lei Ling. She's never like, these used to be weapons. Anyway, we should get rid of them. Like, why are they attacking us?
It's like, yeah, if they were, like, weapons against these, like, big, huge, like, kaiju, then why are they around now when there are seemingly no kaiju around? What's the deal?
So wait, are you saying that Lei Ling just, like, jumped on board with destroying them? Or Madame Huang was like, I want to destroy them?
The whole explanation makes no sense.
Madame Huang was, like, super, like, she laid out everything. Like, we as the audience, of course, get her being like, haha, all part of my evil plan. But, like, that's it. Like, we don't know more than Lei Ling, really, about these white jade towers. And I still feel like we know enough to be like, maybe we should think about why these are appearing, instead of just like, I better destroy 107 towers.
And why 107? Is that, like, a significant number? Or
it might be. Numbers are pretty significant.
Yeah, I feel like it was even
culturally.
I feel like it was 110, which again, not that
it was 108, and then she destroyed one at her like engagement, almost engagement thing.
Oh, don't get me started this early about that.
She's just like, I'm reading your mind. I could tell you have a ring in your pocket. Yeah. I love that interpretation that she's just like one of those people who thinks she can like read and tell everybody else's like what they're thinking. So she thinks she's always ahead of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, actually, let's just talk about that scene, because I feel like we will.
Alright.
Because...
Alright, we'll start there. Alright.
Just because...
the most important scene. Entire...
I mean, it's one of the ones that made me the most mad, because I'm just like, where's the limits to her powers? Like, she is, like... She's super strong, she can fly, and she's also Daredevil.
I continually asked myself as I was reading this, would she be considered a Mary Sue? That is definitely the question that was
She has that great line at the beginning when she comes to the restaurant. She's like, a beautiful restaurant, beautiful scenery. I can't remember what all it was. She's just calling like bunch of different things beautiful, and she's like, and a beautiful boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is just me, but like, I have a problem with the label "beautiful" being applied to a guy.
Why?
Let
him deal with it.
Yeah.
Let this fictional character deal with like the consequences of being called beautiful. I love the fact that she couldn't think of like other adjectives, first of all, for anything. She was just like, everything's beautiful. She's like, there's so many parts, not just this scene, where she's like, oh, my life is just the best. Like, I am going to have it all, which is like a valid desire. But she has that one part, I think it's during the Tony Stark issue, where her assistant's like, oh, isn't it crazy cool that like Tony Stark's here? And I can't remember what she does. She like looks out the window and she's like, this is going to be really tough dealing with like Stark for my business. And then the White Jade Towers, like I gotta this is going to be really tough. But if anybody can do it, I can do it. She's like looking out the window longingly, and her assistant's like, anyway, Miss Ling.
Yeah.
You kind of trotted off for a second there.
Yeah.
She's thinking about how great she is out the window.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Be like one of those characters who like pulls aside, talks to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like, "Hey, who are you talking to?"
Yeah. It's just like, and like so much of that stuff happens. Also, I was really not expecting this to be part of the main Marvel universe.
No, I was nope. When Tony Stark was there, like I saw the cover and I was like, "Why is Tony Stark there?" Or like, "Why is Iron Man there?" And then when Iron Man showed up, it still didn't hit me. Like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Animification.
Yeah.
Oh,
For real.
okay. I do have a problem with Tony Stark. I'm like, he just looks way too young to me.
He looks, yeah, I guess it's kind of like the art style, but it's also like, he doesn't look like any other interpretation. Like, he looks 12, but he's still got like the goatee.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and then glasses? Like, is he usually depicted with glasses?
He can be. I feel like that's a more, like, Robert Downey Jr. MCU interpretation.
Okay.
To me at least, but yeah. He has had glasses before, though.
So we didn't actually finish talking about the engagement.
Oh,
part.
yes.
No,
I kind of jumped.
That's alright.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It makes me upset to think about. I'm just gonna say.
Why?
I think the main part of it is, like, obviously, there is a proud tradition of superheroes lying to their significant other about being a superhero. But I do draw the line at actively gaslighting your partner.
Okay.
What are you talking about? I've been powdering my nose for the last 30 minutes while that superhero's out there.
I think the thing that sells it the most to me is she doesn't even wear a mask when she's a superhero. So it's a completely reasonable question to ask. Like, hey, this person who looks just like you is doing all the superhero stuff when you are avoiding me on our dates. So, like, you can just tell me if you're the superhero.
The one that I hate.
Yeah, also, okay, that didn't feel clearly established to me, because it was like, basically it seemed like, her boyfriend, like, asked her if she was Aero. She lied about it and said no, but he believed her. And then basically still feeling this, like, rejection from the person that he loves, he cast that onto Aero and was like, I hate her. But then it seemed like it was treated as if he hated her from before that moment, but also I couldn't tell because we kept doing flashbacks and stuff, and I was like, I don't know when that was.
Now,
I think from the engagement, like, not party, I keep wanting to call it party, engagement failure, whatever, that's pretty much just all flashback.
I'm gonna say, those aren't really interchangeable. Engagement party / engagement failure.
A bad engagement party.
on it, so like I read issue 1 and 2 before picking this book. So when I first read the engagement, I had a big problem with it because it's like, oh man, she's gonna turn him down. Like, I could just tell. And I was like, I don't know. No, don't do it.
I would have preferred her turn him down than be all like, I can just keep this going, this, like, happiness going. I'm like,
did you want to ask me something? Worse. Oops, didn't hear.
Yeah.
to be fair, that is worse. I will give you that.
Yeah, it was like, just like, yeah, I think that was like honestly the worst part for me about the scene was just that, like, just stringing him along, and it was like kind of rectified a little bit when he like admitted at the bar. He was all like, yeah, I was gonna propose to you, and then she was like, yeah, I know. I was like,
I know, I actively sabotaged it several times.
but he was like a super chill dude. He was like, yeah, I can wait for you. I think that's rather pathetic, but okay.
Why couldn't she just tell him that? Like, I have a feeling you're about to ask me something, and I don't want to do it here and embarrass you in front of everybody. But no, he just had to keep getting his hopes up and then
Yeah.
like getting smashed in the face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think part of the reason why, like, it's either like I want them to get married already, / like I like want them to get it over with, is like this is the first volume and like the third or fourth issue, and we're talking about a significant relationship to the main character that we are being introduced to that is already talking about marriage, and we barely know anything about this main character at this point.
Yeah,
We know next to nothing about the boyfriend at this point.
Right.
So I
Well,
would much rather them like kill the relationship already, or like give us more context to like why this guy thinks that they are ready for marriage.
Yeah, especially because it's like, it like there's a line where he's like, I guess I'm just like I want like punishment, a glutton for punishment.
Mhm.
But it's like that doesn't make any sense without context to me, or at least it just seems like way too simple. Like either we have to
Does she keep doing this?
Yeah.
Does she keep
Mhm.
brushing him off?
And why does he actually want to stay? You can't just say I'm a glutton for punishment, because that's obviously like kind of ironic or
Mhm.
sarcastic rather.
Yeah.
It's like why does he actually really want to stay with her? What does he find good about her in their relationship?
What do they do together?
Yeah.
Wait, you weren't there for when he saved, when she saved his life? What? That's
Well, yeah, I mean that was
Yeah,
that
'cause
was
he
the
was gonna
first
get
time they
stabbed,
met.
but like
yeah.
that's still not like that's
He
like
apparently
thanking-
would do that for anybody, is the thing.
Mm-hmm. And they've been together for 4 years.
No, he totally set that up. He was like, "Hey, bro,
To get
see what we're
stabbed!
hey, yeah,
Now pull out a knife!
yeah."
You better be sharp. She's really gonna love this part.
Hey, that's how I got her. Man, wouldn't it make so much sense though? It's like,
Wow,
no.
they're both manipulative.
Yeah.
Perfect for each other.
And then he's like, I can't believe that this isn't working. What's going on right now?
Do I need to get stabbed again? Almost?
I will say I'll say big if true, but
She
As-
should
as
reject
it
him and he
stands.
should become a villain.
Yeah.
oh, that writing's on the wall, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
No, I don't know, that character seems too pure to me. Like, I mean, we just joked a bunch about him, like, being manipulative, but he just seems like, I mean, granted, he's also super underdeveloped at this point,
Yeah.
but he seems very, very pure.
Mhm.
Like, he would not be corrupted.
But then
He
again,
would become a rival superhero.
But then again, he hates Aero.
Yeah.
That's a big red flag.
I mean, I could see him becoming a police officer.
It was kind of
Oh,
pushed
okay.
as him hating Aero when he was just like, I kind of think that she's not great because people become dependent on her, like this
Yeah.
culture created around it. Like there's even the taxi driver with like the little Aero merchandise.
Mhm.
It's like very commercialized, you know.
Yeah. Actually, that's what I wanted to ask. If there were superheroes in real life, would we be that? Would we be like that?
Would we be what?
Like
We're
we
like
would
that for
revere
fictional
them?
superheroes. I don't think you need to ask.
Yeah, but like
yeah,
there
true,
are already
true.
people who will like,
True.
identify with a celebrity.
True.
And so the trip from celebrity culture to like real life superhero culture
Mhm.
probably isn't that big of a leap.
Mm.
All right,
There's a lot of media around that, isn't there?
Yeah, some media depicts it as like we would like hate them because they would cause so much destruction, and then other like this, we would just love them, we would revere them.
Mm.
So,
I mean, the state-sanctioned superheroes, I think, would be like a sports team to us. And then the not ones, the vigilantes, were like, oh,
I don't know about.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be the opposite. Like if it was state sanctioned, it'd be like, oh, you're working for the government. We don't trust you.
No. It would be thank you for your service.
No.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, Talon, you're forgetting about the real life superheroes.
Okay.
Okay. Just gonna say something else.
So-
That really got me.
So I don't know if we delved into this a lot, but Aero is a superhero who can control wind and very precisely and all that. Like the ways that she was able to tell that he was her boyfriend, who was Zhu, that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Way that she was able to tell that he had a ring in his pocket was air currents. Like
Yeah, like she can basically see all around herself, like Daredevil, basically, because it's like technically, if you can control all of the air and everything is surrounded by air, then it's like you can like make a little topographic map in your mind. But it's like I don't know. I part of me wants to be impressed. That's a creative use of the power. You know, it's not like something like Avatar did that, but. At the same time, it just makes her like so. One, we still haven't finished her training with Madam Hung or Hung. Yeah. And so, like, we haven't seen her develop that power, and so it just makes her feel very overpowered without ever trying.
Mary Sue.
See, you keep trying to push that, and I'm like. I don't. Here's what I'm gonna say about things or characters being a Mary Sue is that like I don't think that it's a useful piece of criticism because it is like it's kind of just reductive. It's all like either we can agree that it is or we can say that it isn't. And I keep saying it. I should say character is or isn't. But it's like, what do we do after that? I think I'd rather say the problems with the characters over like just reducing it to calling a character a Mary Sue.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of comics we could read where it's not like a female main character and there's like just, too many flaws with the main character and the presence of their powers and their reaction to it and how easily the universe they're set in lets them get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know.
So you disagree with the label of Mary Sue?
I'm saying that, like, I don't think the label needs to come up because I feel like it's only come up in reference to her, and it just feels like a little bit like it's because she's a girl.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
not saying I like her.
That is what a Mary Sue means. Like, specifically female who is overpowered.
That's partially why I have the problem with it.
Yeah.
Where's our Gary Sues? We gotta appreciate them too.
Appreciate is maybe the wrong word, but
call out.
I think
Mary
part
Sue
of that
story
comes
is very
from
good.
part of that comes from like other than like the technically prologue, but also most current, like at the beginning of the first volume when Aero is fighting that like I want to say half stone man, like that is the only point in the story that like I really remember her like struggling with a certain situation or like with somebody like who has powers that like counteract hers.
I would even say that she struggled with with the Tony Stark.
Yeah. But also, that one was very unclear, and I didn't feel like there was a build-up to it. She goes, oh, obviously I've been working myself too hard, which, like, I don't know. Yeah. Was that actually the case, or did she just assume that?
I think it was that it was told to us rather than shown.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of the problem with a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that half-stone man, Keystone, Mr. K.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
I made that connection immediately.
They literally end one of the issues with him being like, Aero thinks she can do everything cool. I could be cool with money like Tony Stark.
Well, see, I mean, I made that connection then. Like, I was like, maybe he is Keystone. But I didn't make the connection, like, with his name.
Man, sometimes the way
well.
that you phrase things like that, it makes me just think of characters where it's all like, could Peter Parker be Spider-Man? No. It's like, because you're just very, like, cautious about, like, the way that you think when you're unsure about something. So it's just like, it reminds me of characters. It's like...
Oh, gotcha, okay.
But anyway, yeah, I basically recognized, because in the video, when like he basically gets first introduced on a video call to
Lei Ling.
Lei Ling, thank you. Yeah. And he looks like kind of like not angry, but that kind of like determined and bravado look. And I was just like, I feel like I saw that earlier.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was like, it's
His
the same
skin
guy.
tone is so funny. Too.
Yeah.
Here he looks like ashy.
That's true. Yeah, working on a construction yard. It's like there's stone stuff, rocks.
Hey, this thing just appeared in my construction site. I need it right there.
Yeah.
We need to change the design to, like, really enhance it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man, sorry. I just saw too, and I forgot. She, in only the beginning of the comic, at least, she's able to, like, see people's, like, chi energy.
Oh, yeah. That's how she tracks her down.
Yeah, no. The other way, but, yeah. It's
the
like
red string.
The red
kind of
string.
thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And then she wasn't able to track Keystone, basically.
I was under the assumption that was her heartbeat. Like, it was her heart beating.
I
and
mean,
the air currents.
Chi is, like, life source. Like, life energy. So, like, literally everybody has it. So she was just like, ugh, you have some bad vibes. And, like, zoomed in on that.
You know why I think that she has that in the beginning? It's because this is the future.
Right, yeah, no, I know that, but
So,
I just forgot because it was
okay.
only in there.
Oh, I see.
But yeah. And
It's
yeah.
probably something that she's gonna learn from Madame Wayne.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is just weird that I completely forgot about that power, and then of course it shows off more of her powers, and I'm like, wow, so many powers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
That's why, like,
she could
the
use
first issue. Oh, go for it.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I just realized she could use her Daredevil air senses before she started getting training. Because she basically ditches on the engagement, goes to save the boat of people, and then that's when Madame Huang sees her and is like, this very popular superhero that's been in the news a bunch, I just noticed that she could be related to this thing that I'm trying to accomplish. That is nebulous.
I don't know
still.
if she was like she's related, but she was like interested in using her, obviously.
Yeah.
Because like no other superhero showed up.
That's true.
It's just her.
Yeah. It just seems also weird that, like, you know, she didn't realize sooner. But I guess she is in the main Marvel universe, so maybe she was just, like, going through Wikipedia and just being like, oh, nope, that one's a science accident, that one's, not my magical, not Chinese magic. That was...
Okay, that part is funny, the fact that, like, the same magic.
Yeah.
Wait, what part?
Just like her, like, trying to find different superheroes that might be, like, related to her magical world, you know? Like, Thor's from Norse mythology.
Yeah.
This just makes me want to know where her powers came from. That feels like a really big deal. That's just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of
far.
surprised that didn't come up, like, for her or Madame
Huang.
Huang, yeah. It was like, because, like, when they first meet, like, they're chronologically in-universe first meeting, Arrow's, like, surprised that somebody else has powers, and, like, usually that would be, like, where you delve into where people got these powers. But then it's like, no, I just happen to know all your powers better than you do, so I'm gonna train you for seemingly no reason, I guess.
Yeah. It was just, yeah, that didn't make any sense. And, like, the one time that they got close to not even explaining the main character's powers, but the villains, or at least her origins, I guess, is more like it.
She's just a 1,000-year-old child.
Yeah. Yeah. Just 1,000-year-old child that somehow, yeah, fell asleep for 1,000 years, and then...
Well, she's not a child anymore.
Well, I mean, if she was asleep for 1,000 years, though, did she...
I guess, yeah, you wouldn't mature if you fell asleep at like 12 and then fell asleep for 1,000 years.
It's not explained. Like, was she slowly maturing? Like, every 100 years, they're like, yeah, give her a few days. So,
yeah,
whatever. Up to interpretation.
Did she emerge out of this sleep in, like, the 1980s and then, like, slowly develop her plan?
Gotcha. So, look, side note. Marvel describes Aero's powers as aerokinesis.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
As compared to regular kinesis?
Like
Like
yeah.
Isn't that what you just, like, do on a day-to-day basis, is regular kinesis?
I just mean, like, is regular kinesis not air?
So you're thinking of telekinesis.
Oh, God.
Which is communicating with your
No,
mind,
telekinesis.
or moving things with
There's
your mind.
just regular kinesis, isn't there?
No.
Wouldn't kinesis, like
maybe
regular
not in
kinesis, just be like
superpowers, but
interacting with the world, or am I misunderstanding?
I mean, yeah, it can. So the suffix kinesis would be
movement.
from movement from kinetics.
Yeah, it just means moving in motion. It's not.
Yeah.
But then when you
Just trying to
add,
think about Dead Space.
when you-
Move the boxes. I don't remember what that power is called. It must be telekinesis, I guess.
Yeah.
And then some. It's less common, but lots of people say like pyrokinesis for fire manipulation.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
What would be water? Hydrokinesis.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
pretty
I've
obvious.
heard
Are we
that
just
one.
gonna start naming kinesis?
I've never heard of that
now?
before.
What's the fourth one?
Oh, pterokinesis.
Yeah, there you go.
Cryokinesis, there's technokinesis, there are various kinds of kinesis. Is this what we're gonna do now?
Jake,
Fire,
I've
air,
only ever
earth.
heard of telekinesis. All these other ones are a surprise to me.
I have heard of hydrokinesis. but I
How
don't know
are we
where.
doing this now? How have we devolved into this?
Oh, Jake, just let it happen a little bit, and we'll get back on track. Anyway, so, speaking of that, yeah, so yeah, basically, so she has aerokinesis, I guess, if you want to call it that. I mean, I guess, yeah, so I was just talking about, her powers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, actually, okay, this is less about her powers, but something else that I wanted to mention, though. So earlier we were kind of talking about, her, like, just jumping on board with the plan of, like, destroying the, Emerald Towers and stuff, or
White Jade Tower.
White Jade.
White
White Jade,
Jade.
not Emerald. But, like, also, she almost has, like, kind of the instinct to not destroy them. She's like, oh, it's only if we get near them and, like, they think that we're attacking that they'll do it. And then also she gives a sample of the White Jade to the National Institute of Science and Technology.
Where her boyfriend works.
Yeah,
Where
conveniently.
she still doesn't wear a mask.
And he's like, hey, that's her voice.
Yeah.
Her exact voice.
Hey, Editor-in-Chief C.B. Cebulski.
Well, yeah, that's.
Did we say that?
Well, I mean, we didn't say that, but that's kind of all Marvel comics that have come out since 2018.
Oh, I thought he wasn't Editor-in-Chief anymore.
I'm pretty sure he's still editor-in-chief. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could definitely... I guess it is somewhat worth mentioning, although not what I was talking about in the moment, that C.B. Cebulski was essentially hired to be editor-in-chief because he basically wrote under a pseudonym in China.
Okay, good. That's who I was thinking of. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So he basically was hired to be Marvel's editor-in-chief to strengthen the Chinese audience of Marvel's properties. And so I don't doubt that this was a command. This book was a command from his desk.
It's weird. So like, yeah, the first issue came out in 2018, and this is her first appearance for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, so also that was another thing too, I guess, is that like on the back cover it says like meet one of the agents of Atlas.
Yeah.
But she isn't an agent of Atlas at this point in time, or at least she never mentions that. Also, I don't really know what an agent of Atlas is. Okay. Anyway.
I was really hoping you knew.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a super team in Marvel Comics. I just don't really know anything about them. And it's like...
There's like the Atlantis crossover or something.
Oh, yeah. Is that... I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Man, now I feel like I should see what agent of Atlas is, but...
It's weird because, like, the Atlantis... What did you say? It was Atlantis what?
I just remember it was water people.
So, like, what I saw was, like, Atlantis... like kind of invading Earth, but like that had already happened, so they're doing it again for some reason, which is just odd to me. What did
I mean?
Namor
Yeah, the whole
take a
Agent of
vacation?
Atlas thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because, like, let's say you were picking this up in a comic store and you didn't know anything else, and like you read the first line of the back of the first volume, and it's like, "Meet the new Agent of Atlas." It's like, okay, cool. It's a new superhero team. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to learn more about whatever Atlas is, the organization. And then you read the first volume, and I don't think it even mentions Atlas.
See, my thought was, I was really, really hoping that Agents of Atlas was a reference to Atlas. You know, the precursor to Marvel.
Yeah, that was originally, so okay.
No,
here.
like, I mean, like, the team was those people that were created during that.
So here, that's... What you're looking for is the 1950s team, Agents of Atlas.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the first lineup was composed of characters originally appearing in unrelated stories published in the 1950s by Marvel's predecessor company, Atlas Comics.
Yeah.
The characters debuted as a team in What If number 9 in 1978. So it's not the 1950s team, it's the 1978 team in a What If comic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Agents of Atlas that this is referring to came out in 2006 as a limited series of Asian and Asian American superheroes. Mm-hmm. So it had...
looks like Shang-Chi and Silk, Amadeus Chow, or Cho.
Yeah.
And then Aero.
That was going to be my first guess when you said Asian focused. I was going to say Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be honest, like, I had no idea. I've never heard of Shang-Chi before the Marvel movie Shang-Chi.
In The Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. He's been around. Like, I think like the first time I met him, was introduced to him was like when Peter Parker lost his spider sense and then like had to form his own version of Kung Fu. He went to Shang-Chi to train.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and yeah, basically he actually spun... He was a 1970s Marvel character, and he spun out of getting the rights to use Fu Manchu as a villain.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah, he's a literary villain. And so, basically, that is the comics origin, Shang-Chi is the son of Fu Manchu.
Wait, Shang-Chi is the son of Fu Manchu?
Yeah,
Oh.
and yeah, basically he finds out that his dad is evil, and then...
Wait, I actually think we've talked about this before. This sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay, I don't know.
Also, okay, so I was kind of reading up on Agents of Atlas. I don't know where, but like Jimmy Woo was a part of it, and I was like, "What? Jimmy Woo is the actual character?"
Yeah, apparently, part of the old Agents of Atlas, though, not the new one.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we should probably get back to the actual book.
Yeah.
The sidetrack was somewhat interesting, though, because, it just seems so weird to market it that way, and then it's like, wait, but what is that thing? And it guest stars Iron Man. Iron Man is not on the Agents of Atlas. You should really just have one of those characters show up and talk about their adventures in the other book. Like, Iron Man doesn't even mention her being part of a different superhero team. Like, that would be good enough to give me some indication, but instead...
I mean, no, the whole point, even Iron Man says, like, you can't fly solo,
Yeah, I don't
That's why you
think
gotta learn to take care of yourself. So I don't think she's even part of anything yet.
Yeah.
At the time that she met Iron Man, I don't think she was a part of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why it's so weird that they said meet one of the Agents of Atlas on the back cover of the book.
Gotcha.
Getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah. I guess maybe I could assume that maybe Agents of Atlas came out first, introduced Aero in that, and then this is kind of her spin-off origin.
No.
Might be.
No, this is her first appearance. She wanted this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is her first appearance. Yeah, then they are getting ahead of themselves.
Which is that usual? Like, you just give a new character their own series?
Yeah, for the most part now it is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends on their popularity or, what Marvel's trying to accomplish with a new character, because obviously they use a lot of legacy characters.
Maybe I'm just used to, like, the way the MCU does it, which is team up.
Right.
Existing series.
Yeah. Anyway, though, I guess I'll get back to talking about the time that she stopped by her boyfriend's work, though. Yeah, that's like, I was really expecting her boyfriend to be like, nah, I know that you lied to me the other night, I know that you're Aero. There's like no way. Don't talk about your hair. It's you. Stop lying.
Don't worry. She gets a new manipulation technique of making a double of herself.
Oh, it's just like, it's weird because like even like going to like where he works, I forget like the name. It's some science building, whatever.
The National Institute.
Like in Volume 1, she talks about, well, I can't go there because my boyfriend works there, and if I go there, he'll definitely recognize me.
Okay, no, it wasn't the first thing. She was like, I should call him up and ask him about it. And then she's like, oh man, he's gonna think I'm apologizing. I have nothing to apologize for. And also,
yeah, you're right. Oh
and
my
also,
god, you're right.
I can't like just hand him this piece of like the monster because he's gonna be like, how did you get that piece of that monster? Are you lying to me?
She
and then I guess the solution is to like fly in and just drop it off before he gets there?
Her solution is to not go as herself, but to go as Aero. And then just hope for the best.
Now she was just like, nah, I don't want to talk to him because I have nothing to apologize for. But she was like, wait, that doesn't sound good. Let's think of a better reason. Oh, I can't just give it to him because like he'll put two and two together.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she thought that. I thought she was literally like, I have nothing to apologize for. Also, oh god, I didn't think about this through. He might ask me why I have this.
Yeah.
So we're in Volume 2 now.
Yeah, I mean, we're jumping around.
Okay, like it just like it. I guess the biggest problem is like Volume 1 sets up was like, I need to figure out what this is, but I can't go to the science place. And then Volume 2 is just, I guess I'll just drop it off at the science place. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that progression.
To me, it's as I read it, it was more like it was a necessity. Like she was like, I have to do this now.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that, but I don't think it was clear enough. I think that she was basically saying that I have to run the risk that my boyfriend might recognize me, but like that could have been like way clearer.
Gotcha.
That could have like you really could have upped the stakes in the drama of just being like, oh man, I really hope he doesn't recognize me. I hope that he doesn't come out of his office, I hope I can just drop this off and leave.
She spends so much time being reflective on how many cool things she's done, but not enough time being reflective when she could actually like say something pertinent to the situation.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? So he recognized that Aero was Lei Ling by her voice. Now, does that seem like reasonable, or like you should have recognized her face? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think.
I mean, on one hand, like, yes, because like she's actively not wearing a mask every time she does superheroing. So
is
that
her
is
hairstyle even that different?
No,
I can't remember. That is like one of my problems with the art style. Is like I can't remember a single thing about Aero's character design.
Gotcha.
I can.
There you go.
I don't think that's a compliment, Talon.
Oh, okay.
It's designed so specifically to show off the chest region.
Oh!
It's literally... I was like... I didn't like the design when I first saw it that much because, like, it's too pronounced, whatever, like, too skin tight. But then they're like, and then we put a V shape underneath, and then we put a V shape over the top for her cape, and perfect.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay. Yeah, I guess I can kind of
see
that.
See, I just chalked it up to being like, this is close to anime, or like manga.
But going back
Which is an intentional thing in anime. The more I learn about design, the more I realize artists are doing this very specifically, and it makes it really hard to like study designs because you're like, oh, they put all the time and effort to push your eye right there. Okay, I can't study this.
Gotcha.
So circling back to whether or not her boyfriend should have recognized her on her voice. Yeah, probably. They should have done it sooner.
I mean, he's never talked to Aero before. He's never... She doesn't go up and give interviews, does she?
I guess that's true. But at the same time,
that would be funny.
Like, even if she doesn't give interviews, it's like, still not wearing a mask, still like, the same hair color and like, general facial structure, which like then goes back to all the problems I have with the first engagement scene. But oh man, it's just like that whole scene is just a train wreck. Gotcha. Because like it's either this character that we're first meeting completely misunderstands where he stands in his relationship with Aero, or Aero is actively manipulating someone just because she likes having someone close to her that makes her feel good, but also won't make the next step in commitment to him.
Or at least won't communicate that at all.
Or, like, yeah, just say that, like, hey, like, I know you like me and I like where we are, but I'm not ready to get married. But, knowing that
later,
she did,
but she goes through so much.
Knowing that he wants to get married, and, like, you have an I'm gonna say unethical means of telling that he wants to make the next step, and then actively engaging in the environment to make sure that he can't take the chance to take that next step with you, like, is so beyond the pale of like weird, messed up stuff that superheroes go through to protect their identity.
It feels like it's supposed to be comedic, but also as it's like one of the first scenes of her, I don't know. Like it does.
It just makes sure that like
I didn't take that to be
like the point of morality on Aero is just so messed up as a viewer at that point, where it's like, this is okay, this is fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. If I think about it, I can see where the person writing this wanted that to be comedic. but like it really did not come off that way at all.
No, not at all.
She's like, haha, I've counteracted his violin. This poor violin man cannot play. It's his job.
Gosh.
And it's like you have to wonder, like, you're the boyfriend. You see the violin player walk up to your girlfriend, and you see him start to play, but no sound comes out.
And he's like, okay, I guess I'll leave.
Also,
Violin broke.
Two, it looked more like she cut the strings rather than made it so that no sound came out.
No. She explains that she specifically uses the air currents to cancel out the vibration.
No, what I'm saying is that it looked like she cut the strings.
Oh.
So another instance of showing or telling rather than showing.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't worry. She tells us everything.
Yeah.
Just trust her.
Man, there is a lot of talking to the reader in this book. Because I don't believe that anybody talks to themselves in the way that Aero talks to herself in this book.
Yeah, definitely. And like at times I was kind of like, okay, is this like how well is Greg Pak being like a translator or adaptor, if you want to?
Yeah. So like what I noticed, certainly in the beginning, was that the dialogue seemed a bit lagging for me, or lacking. And so I was just like, it seems like it's really written badly. But then I'm like, but maybe there's error in translation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit stiff at first. But it's still like, what is there is being translated. So there's still a lot of internal dialogue that's going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, whether it's good or not, I think, like, even the best of, like, inner dialogue can be, like, too much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Just, kind of just, like, poor writing, though, in a lot of different ways, you know? From...
It's interesting, because it was easy to read-ish, like, other than sometimes, like, so much dialogue from her to herself. But it just wasn't that enjoyable. It was too disjointed. Like, I could totally see, me being younger and having suspension of disbelief and, like, being okay with a lot of the dumb things that happen. It's very... But so much of it's, like you're saying, it doesn't really stack. Like, this happened because of this. There's not that much of a reaction. It's like, well, now we have to move on to this part. This has to happen, so we're going to go on.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so disjointed with the time, like, I think I'd be a lot more forgiving, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't really understand why it has to start the way it starts, if that makes sense. Because, like, all of the past sequences are at least, like, action-packed enough and catching enough to, like, continue as the main thread of the book. So why start us out in this, like, weird place?
See,
I mean, story trope, right?
To me,
I guess, but, like, if you already know you're gonna do the next couple issues in the past, then why start in the present?
It's not even, like, a couple issues.
Right.
We read 12 issues, and, like, one of them's in the future?
Yeah, well, present.
11 issues in the past.
Yeah. One issue in the
If
present.
you're gonna do 11 issues of it, like, that is a year's worth
Yeah.
of comic releases if it releases monthly.
Yeah.
So why bother?
Well,
I don't know. I guess it's that thing again, like, we're building up to this. Just wait. I know we have a year or more. We're gonna, like, keep stringing you along.
To me, though, like, it would have made... I would have been okay with them, like, focusing on the past, how it led up, if they were like, okay, and now we're gonna jump to the present for a little bit, and then continue what's going on there.
Yeah, that would have been fine. That totally would have been fine.
I think that's a good idea, but with how this is made, I have a feeling that would have been the most confusing thing ever. I was already having a hard enough time being like, are we back in the present yet? Are we? You're gonna tell me, right? Like...
Yeah,
I was definitely lost with, like, the past and then the fake present contrasting to the real present.
Maybe if she looked different. Maybe if she got an outfit upgrade.
Just
for,
like a new hairstyle,
the present.
Honestly.
Like, something looked different for the present. Then I could have been like, okay, we're still in the past.
Yeah. That definitely, I agree with.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
cause like,
maybe something visual would have helped for this comic book.
are we ready to talk about art for this comic, or do we want to talk more about the story?
Well, I guess one thing, I don't know how long people will want to talk about this, but I did want to say something about the Iron Man appearance. He says, and I'll quote here, "Ha! Been there. Happens to the best of us. All work and no play makes superheroes have accidents." And I'm like, Iron Man, no, you've played too hard, and you've had accidents. You are known for becoming an alcoholic, and nearly
it's so
getting
weird
people
because
killed.
like this came out in 2019, but Iron Man looks like Iron Man from like a comic from 2008. Like that's the vibe I get from the suit and the overall design. It's like
Do you think it could have been any other superhero?
I mean, probably not Hawkeye or anything, but
Aero and the guy that slings arrows.
So, can you expand on your question, Shuanta?
I'm like more that I think about it, like I feel that maybe they obviously were trying to make the parallel between her and Tony Stark, like, we're both super smart and in big cities and something. I don't know. I feel like they were trying to make a parallel there. That's why they chose him. But like you were saying, Cody, like some of the dialogue, it's just like you could have kind of stuck in anybody there, I feel like, and they could have made those speeches.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, especially like if you narrow it down to professional life versus superhero life, that could be literally any superhero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. Where it seems like they want to do with Iron Man in this comic is he is supposed to be one of the oldest heroes, I guess. Like, which again, he looks so young.
Right.
But they say something about, like, you know, he's one of the ones with the most experience, and I'm like, okay, it'd be kind of awkward to do Captain America.
Well, why didn't they do Fantastic Four?
Yeah, they could do Reed Richards, but I think that they had already done the Secret Wars, written by Jonathan Hickman, and so like he was out of the picture, recreating the multiverse, whatever.
I mean, I guess I will say part of the reason they probably chose Tony was like it's really easy to write a reason for Tony Stark to be in Shanghai as compared to any other superhero.
Business.
Just
wait,
business.
Wait,
I am businessman.
Did you guys forget Fantastic Four Silver Surfer? I don't know if they were in Shanghai, but they were somewhere in
I
Asia.
don't think they were in Shanghai.
Yeah.
I've watched that movie a couple times. I don't think they were in Shanghai.
You're right. I don't know if it's Shanghai, but
you're right.
But the stance is, the point is still being made. They could have said, like, we're fighting Galactus in Shanghai.
Yeah, but then you gotta talk about Galactus in this comic that has nothing to do with Galactus.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I almost thought that they might do or could have done was Spider-Man was in China for a while.
Was he?
Yeah.
When?
It was when they were doing the Parker Industries thing where he was basically being like Iron Man.
Yeah. Knock off Tony Stark. Yeah.
Huh. You know what? I would have actually liked seeing that. I don't know.
I don't know if the stories lined up, though. He might have not been in China anymore when this was coming out, though.
I mean, but if you have to choose one of the characters, I would much rather take Peter Parker over Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I feel like the personalities.
I do like the idea of it, but I don't know. I can't see. It's harder to see Spider-Man as like a mentor figure, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
That's essentially what I chalked it up to, was that, like, yeah, Spider-Man just always has an air of inexperience, even when he's experienced.
And also, so I think it's like a little bit of mix. Like, you know, I think Spider-Man could be a mentor figure, but to me, it would have to be someone who looks younger than him, Like they can't be visually the same age, and definitely Lei Ling looks to be his same age.
Yeah.
So like, I couldn't see it that way.
That's a good point. Age does factor into it. Although, at the same time, like we've said multiple times, Tony Stark here looks very young, like similarly aged. So, really, it's, if you just put on a mask and pretend that he looks older.
Well.
I wonder if Tony Stark is more recognizable overseas.
Yeah, that's also another good point.
I mean, yeah, if you probably just, like, slap that beard on, like, any white guy, it probably looks like Tony Stark at least a little bit.
Yeah. I could definitely imagine people being like, I don't really like Tom Holland, overseas, but Iron Man is the leader of the Avengers,
Yeah.
Oh, is Tony Stark the leader?
Yeah.
Well, of the MCU Avengers,
I would say he's the leader of most Avengers teams. Like,
he was the leader of Force Works.
No. Cut that out. I mean that literally, and cut it out of the recording.
I like that as a bit. You just say cut it out when you hear a joke you don't like. All right, I'm gonna get behind that.
Anyway,
but yeah, Tony Stark is just a weird pull. Like, I guess because like Iron Man isn't a weird pull, but like putting Tony Stark the character in there is kind of odd.
But you have to give Iron Man the reason to be in China.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it could have been just as simple as, hey, these White Jade Towers are national news. International news.
I don't know. You know what? I think that Tony Stark was an okay choice for what they were trying to achieve, but I still would have liked her to have a team up with somebody that she would eventually be part of the Agents of Atlas with. And it wouldn't be a mentorship thing. It would be, we're equals, we both make mistakes, but I can see that we both have things to learn from each other.
I don't know. I don't feel like Lei Ling would be like, oh, I see you as an equal. Like, there's something to learn from you. Like, she's all on herself. Like, I got this.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I guess like that's part of like why, like, if you want to give credit to the author, like why they chose Iron Man, because then they can easily say like this is a respected hero. So like even Aero has to go like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. And so like when like Iron Man gives her the advice, like, hey, maybe you should kind of take it easy a little bit. Not everybody can go all out all the time. Aero is like, yeah, I guess you're probably right. And like takes that as advice, whereas like if she took that from any other character, it probably wouldn't have stuck. It's like, man, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm just too good.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so that is what I'm saying. Kind of is that what I really wish, less than what character gets from the mainstream Marvel gets included, is I wish that Lei Ling got more chance to realize things on her own. Because if Tony Stark's just telling her, then he's just telling her. But if we can see that Lei Ling learns from an experience, and like technically, yes, she does learn from an experience in this, but it's like it's a little disjointed, because Iron Man has to give her platitudes, about slowing down.
Right. Yeah.
But she can just say it to herself, instead of monologuing about how cool she is.
you know what I just realized is that, so there's, in the first issue, Madame Huang is like, you were always too focused on, doing everything by yourself, even when I was training you, and I get the feeling like that wasn't explained even in the past, like when they were going through the past, like she was like, hey, I need your help. And so like I would expect a bit of friction with Madame Huang being like, hey, you need to listen to what I'm telling you. And then Aero going off doing her own thing, being like, I'm not going to. That wasn't really explained even in the what do you call it? Like backtrack?
Yeah, the flashback, the main
okay.
story. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So like
I mean,
there's even more that they're gonna have to explain.
Oh yeah, I would. I mean,
there's time to include that possibly.
Yeah.
She's definitely like during the bubble training or whatever. It's definitely Aero Lei Ling is like definitely shown to be like, oh, I could do this. Just give me a second, I'll do it. And then she's like, this is harder than I thought. And Madame Wang is like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But they never really argue about it, or like it doesn't go beyond her being like cocky right away and then also picking it up pretty quickly and turning it back on her mentor within like a few panels, even if incomplete.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. I think that the thing is that her character is the kind to try and show off, to just always be like better than the best, and on her own in that way, I guess.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm. But I do think that like there's probably like another 6 issues in this comic before we get back to the present.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know why I wrote this down.
Good.
but I wrote down issue 11 as my favorite issue, and I said because Tony is pretty funny. Like so I'll put that as my answer. Issue 11 is my favorite issue.
All right. Yeah, I don't.
Do you remember why? Like
other than Tony being
said?
funny? No, I don't. No.
Huh.
Favorite issue? Is that our bit now? Just doing favorite issues? Because I don't know what our favorite issue is.
No,
Jake,
it doesn't have to be a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a thing always. Don't be so worried about whether you're prepared. Sorry.
Well, I mean, like, if you told me we were choosing favorite issues, I'd be, ready to go, but...
I refuse to choose.
Yeah, and we're not doing that.
But also, my favorite issue would probably be issue 1, because it's, technically the most compelling.
Okay.
That's what I thought, Taylana was going to say.
Oh, issue 1. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any preference to any of them, but yeah.
As I said, I have trouble keeping everything straight because the timeline doesn't make sense, so
yeah,
they're all one issue to me.
I wish they'd put, at least, a date on some of them, instead of just, past, future, then,
Do they even
now.
do that? Do they even have past? Beyond,
I think they put
the
past
first
on
issue?
some of them.
Yeah.
But not all of them.
Yeah.
So
but
you're
he's
just picking up an issue, you're like, oh, there's a story.
That furthers the confusion.
Well, so
it's
I think it's
if you asked me to write out a timeline of this comic, I can assure you I'd be 90% wrong.
Really? I could be pretty. I think I'd be pretty accurate.
Yeah, without looking back through the book, I would say that I'd probably actually only get 20 to 10% wrong, 10 to 20% wrong. But yeah, it's still very dang confusing.
See, to me though, the way that I would go about it is, you start from the first issue, and then you get the second issue saying this is the past, right? Mm-hmm. And then you just say, okay, now read these other issues, and with context, you're going to be like, okay, so this wouldn't make sense if it came so far after.
Well, yeah, but
it'd have to be right now. But
can you do that without re-referencing the book?
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
Without as a test question, without reference,
without looking at your notes.
I see.
Yeah,
gotcha.
correctly identify
the
sequence of events.
That she was reading it and she was very confused. If she had the book, even as a reference, she wouldn't be able to.
Who's
Sort out.
she?
You, Shawenta.
Okay. It's like Aero?
No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess.
What if you were given all the issues as separate ones, and then you had to put them in order?
Yeah.
Oh, like no
covers.
numbers? Yeah, that'd be. Ooh.
I feel like I'd get like a 65%.
I'm confident in how wrong I would be.
Ooh, actually, that would be a fun game almost to like separate out the two volumes by page and then try to put it in like actual chronological order.
No!
Oh.
That is painful. That's 200 pages or so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I also don't want to do it, but like, I don't know. Maybe I want to subject somebody to do that.
Chronologically order the pages?
Yeah, but like randomize them first and then make somebody
gotcha.
do it.
Gotcha. Well, we're coming close to the end of our show, so let's talk about the art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
I love it.
Really?
I love it. That's what drew me to this comic. I was like, man, this art is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reiterate Shawenta's earlier point. Don't love the boob pockets.
They can do that, but they just don't need to be that skin tight, is all my opinion is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. When I'm looking at it, like, yes, I see that is a problem. But as soon as it's not on a screen that I'm actively looking at, I completely forget anything about any character's design in this entire book.
See,
and
like,
that's my biggest
depressing.
problem. Is it's all so forgettable.
See, as I'm reading it, like, that's not something I notice.
Wait, elaborate.
Most of the character designs are pretty generic, I would say. Like, I feel like her boyfriend is peak generic, conventionally attractive. I don't know. Everybody has a smooth face.
It's just
and, like,
some dude.
Little triangle face.
Give him a mustache or something that, like, we could identify him as in a crowd.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, would it be weird? Like, see, and that's the thing too. Also, I guess I am not well read in, I guess like how manga, artistic traditions like translate to Chinese comics. You know. Because, like, I mean, we've kind of mentioned that this seems to be trying to capture a Chinese audience, in some respect. And so I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm only as versed as a casual American reader can be in manga, tropes for art. And then, like, I'm like, well, now, how much of this is trying to be manga, which is Japanese, and how much is it trying to be Chinese? I don't know, like, at all. So it's like, it's kind of like, it is like a tricky for me to like say, because I'm like, would it be weird? Would it be appropriate? Somewhere in between to give like Aero like different colored hair than black, like, you know, like you know, like pink hair, you know, the weird hair colors.
I think because they're trying to go for the Chinese audience, I think it would be against a certain beauty standards. I mean, that's kind of why they do the triangle face too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know, long black flowing hair. It's interesting, like, I didn't think too hard about the fact that this isn't actually a manga. Because Madame Huang is like the standard trope on like Japanese media of like Chinese woman, but evil or like cunning or whatever. But like, so it's really interesting to see like the design, what she's wearing, or how her hair's done. It's like totally that kind of trope, which we've totally had in America too. But so it's really interesting to see this in like a Chinese piece of media. Because I do think it is a certain like trope that everybody knows at this point. Like, I remember reading, like, manga when I was younger, and they have that specific character.
Yeah. I could definitely say in that ties into the whole, like, you know, the character design is pretty generic. It's like, I feel like I've seen Madame Huang somewhere else.
She has a shawl, she has an umbrella.
From Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's not where I've seen her. But
okay,
was she literally in it? Because that's a Marvel.
No,
okay.
But if I'm remembering this character correctly, she did have the same kind of dress.
Okay. So yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of our show. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't get to say that, like, I didn't like the art style too much, but it got better and more consistent, which I can appreciate. The faces were not too great at the beginning, and they got better.
That's good.
This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Taylon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. You can catch us on Mondays, 5 to 7 p.m. on KSUA 91.5 FM, The People's Radio. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Comic Panel, It's Comic Time. Or you can follow us on Instagram at _comic_panel, or like our Facebook page at It's Comic Time. Have a great rest of your day.